regulatory outlook for Europe's gambling market, expectations, priorities, and challenges.
It's not easy to do all the 4 pillars you mentioned, but we definitely will try to do it. Well, thank you for the invitation. I'm truly honored to get this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Dorph. I'm a lawyer. I have a background as a prosecutor, chief of police, chief of asylum, and for the last 5 years I've been chief of the Danish Gambling Authority. Currently, I'm also chair of the Gaming Regulators European Forum, in short called GREF. It was actually a big change for me to go from police and asylum to the gambling sector. In my previous jobs, my clients was either sent to prison or granted asylum. Now I have a client which is a large private organization, companies who are all very eager to be compliant with the law. That was definitely not the case when I was in the police or in the asylum business. So it's a big change, and we have a very, very close dialogue with the industry. And I do think that Denmark is well known for having this approach towards the industry. It saves us from a lot of trouble to have a close dialogue, and together with the industry we are able to avoid fines and keeping the industry compliant. I think that's really, really important. For the next 15 minutes, I will tell you a little bit about the market for slot machines in Denmark, and I will also talk about the general gambling market in Denmark and touch in some key trends. So, slot machines in Denmark is actually a market facing problems. The market is decreasing due to the fact that the players are dying, and they're actually dying because they're smoking a lot. And almost all of them are smoking, and that keeps up the speed of dying, and we are not able to recruit new players in the right amount. Our arcades are old, the machines are old, and there's a lack of will to invest in more modern machines to attract new players. England is way ahead of us in this area. They have been better to invest in new machines and therefore being able to give players a far better experience, customer experience. I will now try to give a sense, just wait with that for a second, but to give you a sense of the political debate environment in Denmark concerning gambling industry. In 2021, we made a survey on problem gambling. We do that every 5 years, and we do use the method PGSI, which is very difficult to work with, and it's, in my opinion, very sensible, or it's very hard to use the results for something concrete. But the survey showed an increase in the amount of problem gambling in Denmark, not among the persons with serious gambling problems, but among the persons with gambling problems in a lower degree. And in Denmark, we are 6 million people, and it showed that 500,000 had some kind of a problem with gambling, which is absolutely not the case. We have maybe 15,000 problem gamblers. But it's so sensitive, this PGSI, so even if you just answer, have you ever felt bad about playing, then you get a point, and then you're among the 500,000. So in the press, you are listening to stories. 1 out of 10 in Denmark is actually a problem gambler. But the survey in 2021 was the first time we made a survey on young people. And it actually showed that young people had the same amount of problem gambling as older people. That's between 14 and 17. And that was an eye-opener for the politicians, and I thought it really made a lot of pressure to the gambling sector, and we had that pressure for 3 years. Nothing happened in a political way. No deals had been made. But 14 days ago, we actually made a political agreement on this area, and that went really fast. I think it's a very difficult process to try to be advisor in as a regulator, because there's so much hate to the industry. There's so much wish to ban the industry, to restrict the industry. So you really have to be strong and try to use some good arguments, also some figures that actually shows this. For example, one thing in Denmark is that gambling is exploding. It is not exploding. In Denmark, it's not exploding, and it's been falling, and it's been stable since 2018. So it's 7 years ago, gambling peaked in Denmark. And if we look at it, compare it to GGR, it's actually falling. People are spending less money, less percentage of the GGR. So it's to the GDP. So, but these numbers are really hard to sell, and nobody wants to listen to that. And restrictions occur in the political environment. And if you look at how much a Danish gambler over 18 gambles, it's also stable and it's also falling since 2018. So 14 days ago, we suddenly got a political agreement. We get a whistle-to-whistle ban 10 minutes before the match, 10 minutes after. We get a ban on public marketing in a distance of 200 meters from a school. And if you know how many schools we have in Denmark, it actually means that you're not allowed to marketing in 35% of the Danish country. And all major cities, if you have 200 meters from a school, you're not allowed to have marketing in all major cities, and you're not allowed to marketing in a public transportation. So this is tricky, but these slides definitely shows that the market is not exploding. Online casino is still growing, but the total market share reached this peak in 2007. But the amount of commercials in TV has exploded. And a survey in Denmark showed that 80% of the people are tired of commercial and too much marketing. And I think that is partly to blame for the political focus on this area, that we see advertising everywhere. We're not able to open the television without having advertising thrown in our head. But what I think is concerning in the gambling sector is, of course, focus on kids, young people actually playing in schools, because we've seen a development for the last 10 years where in 2012, 89% of the gambling was on a computer. Now it's 70% on a mobile phone. So the big transition in Denmark, you're playing with your mobile phone and you bring your mobile phone into the classroom, and we see actually boys are gambling in the classroom. And that is why we made a school program in Denmark. So we are trying to educate young people to make them understand that gambling is entertainment and it costs money. It's not a way to be rich. And we actually measured the effect on this school program. We had it for 2 years, and it worked. And if we ask the people just before we teach them, then 70% said they played for entertainment. And 3 months after they listened to us, there's 87% realized they're playing for entertainment, not to win money. So I think it works, and I think campaigns on social media targeting young people is essential, definitely, to educate them, to make them more robust, and make them understand what is gambling. This is just to show the shares of the market in Denmark, and if online casino keeps on going up, it will soon beat lottery in Denmark. That's a focus point, of course. A short look on the land-based market. There's a clear tendency, both in the global market, in the European market, and in the Danish market, which you see here. Land-based gambling is losing market share to the online market. And if you look at the gross gaming revenue in Denmark, you can also see a fall. And then you can, of course, see the COVID-19, where restaurants and arcades were closed in 2020 or 2021. We predict that the market will fall approximately 3% a year for the years to come. That's our prediction in this case. Like the market, then also the number of the number of license holders, the number of premises is falling in Denmark, like this. A key thing in the automat business, I think that is definitely to get the payment transition to be digital, to be able to pay with a credit card on a slot machine. In Denmark, you're only able to pay with cash or a voucher in, a voucher out. But I do think it's very important that the market has to be able to move with the development in society. The future will be cashless. Therefore, in Denmark, we are aiming to make it possible to pay with credit card in slots machines. But doing that, we need, for AML reasons, to make sure that either you pay cash, either you pay credit card, and there's no mix of these two payment models. If we look at the land-based gambling market, we do have a labeling scheme to protect the legal market, and we do also make campaigns about this labeling scheme to make people realize that it's important to play on the legal market. I will just go to this one. We are introducing new legislation, and we will have a new licensing structure. We are trying to modernize the gambling arcades, and we're going to make it more modern. And there may be other commercial activities in the gambling arcades. For example, a pool table. It'd be possible to sell alcohol in a gambling arcade up to 6%. And it will also be possible to play other games, for example, virtuals. So this is an attempt to try to give some life to the industry. I'm not sure if we will succeed with it, but we hope. This is key figures, and this is the latest figures from ACE2 gambling. I think they came as a shock for all the regulators who were, like me, safe in the heaven that we had 91% channelization rate, and we were proud and traveled around the world and told everybody we were hands up. We were really good about the black market, and we only 9% was black market in Denmark, and we were really good. But H2 gambling is now measuring something else. They're also measuring crypto, and they're also measuring the web traffic on affiliates. And with these numbers, we made a fall from 91% to 78%. And I think that's very important to get these figures out in the political debate, to have focus that we need to focus on fighting illegal gambling. And these numbers also came out last 2 weeks ago in Denmark, where we had this political agreement. And I think it helped a little, but not really a lot, because the politicians are just so much into trying to kill the legal business, actually. And that's, of course, worrying, definitely. But as you see, a monopoly in Norway, for example, they have almost 57% on the illegal market, which is really, really big. And you talked about Germany with the 50%, and I think we see the same in Holland right now. And we have to keep on fighting this area. And one of the tools we use for fighting is of course, DNS blocking. DNS blocking helps. We can actually measure the traffic on the illegal sites and see after a block, the traffic is lower, definitely lower. So it's an obstacle for the illegal market, and I think for the last year we blocked 350 pages in Denmark, and we are also counting in now mirror sites, because mirror sites is also a problem, and we have to focus on that. Of course, campaigns on social media about playing on the legal market, our labeling scheme, educating young people, and the next thing we're going into is payment blocking, which is a very difficult area, but I really hope it will succeed to get the banks and work with the banks to make sure that we can use payment blocking as a tool against the illegal market. We also have a cooperation with Meta and Apple, Google, and Twitch. And we are the proactive one. We are looking at the platforms, and every time we find illegal content, we contact them, and they actually remove the illegal content. So it helps, and I would very much like to enhance that cooperation we have in the Nordic countries with all the European countries, and press that forward in a GREF agenda to make sure that we are all focused on trying to make it as difficult as possible to be an illegal operator in Europe. But we need to work on enforcement, responsible gambling, digital innovation, and very much statistics. Statistics is very important because that can actually sometimes be an argument for politicians, and hopefully we can use the numbers, use the right numbers and get the right numbers into the debate and make sure they don't make any wrong decisions. Which reminds me, when I talk about statistics, then I was at Cambridge University when I was young, and I heard the teacher say, you have lie, you have damn lie, and you have statistics. Or statistics is like a bikini. It shows a great deal, but covers up the most essential parts. Thank you very much.